Welcome back in, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network on a Friday. Hope you're having a great week. Close it out strong here, heading into the weekend. All right,
Friday already, man.
Friday already? I know.
Wow.
I know. We mentioned a little bit earlier, Chris Sims from NBC Sports was the latest to kind of dive into the Jalen Hurts fray, and he took it to a different level than even Micah Parsons did. You know, essentially saying there's no way he's more valuable than Mahomes. Below average thrower, great supporting cast. If Minshew was the quarterback, they'd still be very good. And he went on to praise, you know, the offensive line, the defensive line, the receivers that he has, the running game. At one point, he says the coach installed an offense that's new to even him, basically because he had to. Like, when I heard him say that, and I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing. But when I heard him say that, that said to me, he's not watching this year. He's watching last year.
Yeah,
when they had to run the ball and almost play keep away because they didn't trust Jalen as much. That's not what this is, man. And if you think that's what it is, just because the attempts aren't super high, like Mahomes or Allen or Herbert or whomever, that's not what's going on here. This is not, we better run the ball because we're afraid to let this guy throw. He's already got a 1,000-yard receiver. He's got another guy who's probably going to get over 1,000 in Devontae. And he has a tight end who, had he not missed the last, 4 games, would have had pretty monster numbers too. So don't give me he's not throwing the ball successfully and they got to run this offense because of his limitations, which is what he implied. It's just wrong. It's just incorrect.
You're absolutely right, man. When you say stuff like that, it just totally contradicts what your eyes are telling you on the field. They went through like 3 or 4 games where all they did was pass the ball. Like he averaged like 20 yards a run. I mean, 20 yards a game in the run game by himself. He was throwing the ball, drop back pass in the pocket. So I'm like, what game are you watching? I mean, come on, man. Are you kidding me? And it's not like they're using play action to push the ball down the field. They're lining up in straight drop back, and he's throwing the ball down the field. I mean, give me a break, man. Watch film before you say something.
Yeah.
This is my guy. This is my dude. We talk all the time. I do a show with him at least once or twice a year, you know, when we talk about stuff like this. But that comment was totally the whole thing he talking about Gardner Minshew being in would be the same. No, it'd be nothing. They would not
be 12-1 with Gardner Minshew quarterback.
Absolutely.
You know, Sirianni took the playbook this offseason, as I've been saying since the spring. He looked at his playbook. They streamlined it to cater to his strengths. Mm-hmm. It's plain to see. You know, you incorporate, hey, what do you like? A smart head coach, tell me what you like and what you don't like. Tell me if we do a variant of this, is this more suitable to you? Do you feel more comfortable? You look at the way he runs plays this year compared to last year. It's quite obvious between Sirianni and Steichen. They took the playbook and they made it Jalen Hurts' playbook. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, they did what good coaches do. They tailor it to his strengths. But this isn't some keep away thing where you can't let the guy pass. That's not what's going on here.
Right,
just like any good coach or coordinator does. They cater it to the quarterback's strengths and what he likes and what he feels comfortable with. And by the way, it's been hugely successful doing that.
Rob, look at this.
Dude.
Look, Rob, I'm telling you this. D-Gun, he hasn't watched tape on Jalen Hurts. That's the only way he said, because yes, you're right. He took the offense and catered it towards him in the beginning. But what they've done since then is added a shitload of stuff to it.
Right?
Yes. That entire playbook went from here to here. The more Jalen consumed it, the bigger it got. The more comfortable he was with doing whatever you needed to do. So now it doesn't have to be, all right, well, do you think Jalen can? No, it's like, all right, I know Jalen can do this. I know he can do this, and I know he can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, well, I really don't want to put him in that position, so I'm not going to do that for him. But he could do it if he wanted to.
He could. He absolutely.
And that's what it is. Yeah.
If the Eagles chose to throw it as much as Kansas City does or some of these other teams, I mean, his numbers would be there too. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The balance that this team has is what makes them so good. I mean, like, all right,
that's the B word right there. You got it. That B word right there.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Balance.
Hurts has a better completion percentage than Mahomes or Allen. He's fourth in the league. He's behind Geno, Mac Jones, and Joe Burrow right now, and he's right on. He and Burrow. Burrow's 68.1. Jalen's 68. By the way, Mac Jones is 68.2. So he's basically like second in the league as far as that goes. Right?
My fault, Forrest. You're right.
He's first in passer rating.
Yep.
At 108.4, ahead of everybody, including Tua and Geno and Mahomes and Jimmy G before he went down, and Burrow, et cetera, et cetera. This comes down to these guys are so lazy that they look at passing yards and they don't really dig any deeper than that. And they look at touchdowns, passing touchdowns, and they don't take into account he's got 10 rushing touchdowns. I'm telling you, I'm not trying to just oversimplify this, but I really believe that. I wouldn't say it if I didn't. I think that's a lot of what this is. They're just not digging a little bit deeper.
You are oversimplified in the aspect that what you're saying is right. It's simple. It's simple that the reason why he doesn't have to have all those passing attempts, because they run the ball so darn good that they don't need to. They are 12-1. Why are they 12-1? Because they can go out and execute the offense. They call a play and they run a run play and they get 20 yards on the run play. Okay, forgive them for not passing twice and getting to 20 yards with passing plays.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. We
don't have to hold Jalen Hurts' hands. Jalen Hurts can run this offense. He doesn't need it. He can stay out there and run the offense without the coaching staff. That's how tied in this guy is to the offense.
At 24 years old. Yeah. And,
right.
A-Dog points out, hey, Vegas has Hurts as favorite. He does. A-Dog's right. They do. But we're just going off of what one of his peers said in Micah Parsons and what an analyst, however you feel about Chris Sims, he isn't an NFL analyst, what he had, and a guy who played the position for 8 years, had to say. And I'm just trying to point out the inconsistencies and just in my opinion, how they're flat out wrong with the way they're looking at this.
See, this is not a clickbait comment from Chris Sims, because if you look at the call letters behind his name, NBC Pro Football Focus, they have automatic fan base, period. They have thousands upon thousands. It doesn't make a difference who they put in front of their cameras. They're still going to have those numbers because of the entity that they stand for and the long success they've had. So I'm trying to figure out what is his motivation behind making a comment like that, especially a guy who's played the game at a marginal level when he was in the game, for making a statement like that. I mean, you got to be a little bit more careful, because that's your credibility at stake when you say stuff like that. Because not just us, but other people around the league and who cover the game and who watch the game have to be saying, Chris, what the heck are you talking about, dude? I mean, how do you come to this conclusion that Jalen is substandard? Because obviously, have you watched him play, really?
No.
Have you done more than watch highlights maybe on the NFL Network at night to see his overall game and how his game has enhanced and evolved from last year to this year? Because if you had, you would nowhere near make a statement like that. That's basically almost like professional suicide in a lot of ways to make comments like that.
And look, if you say, hey, at the end of the day, if I'm picking first at a draft, I'm taking Mahomes or something, I get it. Okay. Nobody's going to argue Patrick Mahomes' greatness with you. But the way he just lays it out and has to sort of take shots, if you will, at Jalen Hurts. The other part of this is, and I'm firmly convinced of this, there are far too many in our business who are not willing to say I was wrong. And I think because Sims has been kind of dug in on this for a while, like he put a list out and he had Hurts at like 40.
What?
He was pulling quarterbacks like off of the street. It was crazy. And there's a lack of willing to admit that you were just flat out wrong. It doesn't make you look like a lesser person. It makes you look like a real person if you do that.
It almost makes you seem like you're smart because you looked at it, diagnosed it, and came back with the conclusion that, all right, I wasn't right that time. So let me get back, letting everybody know that I am intelligent enough to know when I was wrong.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything also wrong with saying, like, look, I didn't see him growing like this quickly. Okay. Not many of us did. Did any of the three of us think he'd be in an MVP conversation this year?
Nope.
I didn't.
Nope.
I personally did not. I can say
thought
that.
he would.
I'll speak for myself.
I thought he would improve, but I didn't think it would be to this degree.
Same here. Right.
But lo and behold, he took it to a whole nother level. Sirianni Steichen took his game, took this offense to a whole nother level. Howie Roseman adding components, took this team is to a whole nother level, that we didn't even see, and you know what? Sometimes you got to step back and reevaluate your assessments. It's that simple. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Right. And look at what happened over the past year and a half. The mere fact that Steichen took over play calling. Sirianni's like, all right, well, it'll make me a better coach if I just allow him to go out there and call the plays. That way I can delegate and do more things everywhere else. Oh, and it's working. All right, I'm still going to sit back and do the same thing. Yeah, they called me in to be a head coach to the offensive play caller, but I trust them to do it. And oh, by the way, I have a quarterback that does more than just run the ball. Let me open it up for him a little more. I mean, come on, man. But then he also understands what the naysayers are saying, and he doesn't give a dang on about it. That's what I love about this team, and that's what I love about what the
the lack of ego.
What the pundits are going to keep on saying about them. And they're going to use this to go further and further. They're going to use this as a rallying call as they go forward. You don't think that those guys inside that locker room hear this?
Yep.
You don't think they're going to be like, all right, they're going to keep talking about Jalen like this? We're going to let you keep talking about this, him not being able to go up and win a Super Bowl all the way to winning a Super Bowl. And then we'll have, see what you have to say about that. Oh, and then when he signs that contract for about $46 million a year, he's going to laugh all the way to the bank.
Mm-hmm. Can't you just hear it, guys? Kelsey's in another mummer's costume. Hammered, right, at the Art Museum steps. And he grabs the mic. Some backup quarterback named Chris Sims to the Jalen Hurts, and he just goes, and the whole place erupts. Isn't it just setting up for that?
Right.
How awesome is that going to be when that comes to fruition, man?
Right,
it's going to be amazing.
Right. It's funny you should say that, but I don't, and even if he did it, I don't think Kelsey could ever top that unexpected speech of 17.
No. You'll never. Right. This will be a sequel.
It'll be a sequel. But
yeah,
that speech in 17, and I'm standing right there at the footsteps of the Art Museum, and I'm watching them, and I'm talking to Rachel McCauley, who was my field producer at the time. I said, all I said was, if Jason Kelsey gets the mic, it's going to be like WWF Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Sure enough, he steps to the mic, the crowd goes nuts. It was, and then you could tell Howie and Jeffrey were a little uncomfortable.
Yep.
Oh, geez, what's he going to say? And then he mentions Howie's name. Send Howie down to a closet somewhere down the hall. Oh my goodness.
And Lane Johnson can't stay off the juice.
Oh my God, man. No, you look at Howie's face and Doug, because on the one shot you can see them both, and they're both like, "Oh man,
okay,
oh man."
And then I interviewed Kelsey right after his speech, and you could tell it. Oh, woo, you can tell he was enjoying the moment. But man, he's so passionate. I could listen to Jason Kelsey talk about anything. Think about, let's say, the last 6 years. Mm-hmm. Whenever Jason Kelsey has stepped in front of a mic, he's honest, forthright. He tells it like it is. He doesn't pull punches. It doesn't make a difference what the topic is. Doesn't pull punches, but he does it with decorum. It's not like he does it to be offensive in any way. It's just what he honestly feels at that particular moment, where they're talking about an upcoming matchup, his overall play against bigger D tackles. He went from no bowl to Pro Bowl status consistently. Everything about him, man, is like, I always call him the true grit. I base it to the movie John Wayne's True Grit. I always look for true grit type players. He definitely falls in that category.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And look, he is. If you listen to him just sort of break things down too, he is very smart. He could coach if he wanted to. I don't know if he wants the headache of coaching, but he could do it if he chose to.
Well, he's almost destined to, man.
You think so?
He's got so much of his
knowledge
coaching. Yeah, it's almost like he's willed to do it, man. Because him and Stout and the way they interact with each other.
Yeah,
he's going to end up coaching somewhere. I mean, I see him like a head coach at BC somewhere or something like that.
Yeah,
he might be a head coach and still also coach the offensive line. That's the type of guy he is.
I was going to say maybe if someday Jeff Stoutland rides off into the sunset, he takes over as the offensive line coach. I'm not rushing that. I'm not wishing that. I hope Stoutland does it for another 20 years, but I could see that happening also. He's got that kind of mind.
Well, good afternoon, Mom.
I don't know. With two small kids, I don't know if he wants to be. I don't know if he wants to be consumed by the game. I mean, that's from 6 a.m. to midnight. Andy Reid, prime example. Andy Reid used to chuckle all the time about how, and people who knew Andy Reid was, and his wife Tammy Reid was telling me, he leaves on Monday. I might not see him till Friday. He slept in his office.
Yeah.
Most of the week. I mean, and he had 5 kids.
There's a price to pay for that, and we've seen it with certain coaches. But yeah. So anyway, but I see that stuff and I'm like, what? So if I had to put my finger on like the biggest reason why, I would say either you're not really watching him this year, you're just going off your impressions of what you thought last year was. Maybe
or you're just looking at the numbers.
You're looking at numbers strictly. It's such a short period of time. Maybe you're not believing that this is who he is. Actually, you just think it's kind of
legitimate,
like a flash in the pan, maybe, and that's fine. He hasn't won a Super Bowl. I get that. Or you're just too stubborn. I don't know. I just think there's so many different variables that go into this and we're lucky. Look, we follow it very closely. Okay, we're on it every game, so we know of what we speak. And some people might say, "Oh, you guys are being homers." I think we have a better vantage point than anybody else because we are so honed in on what it looks like every single week and the efficiency that's there every single week. This is not, they're not trying to be some old school team that doesn't throw it a ton because they have to do it that way. They don't. They really don't have to do it that way, And here, here's the other thing. Let me just throw this up there from Eagles Truth. So he said, I was on point about the Mahomes passing attempts, about 150 more. But he's got every other stat. He doesn't, though. I mean, that's the thing. He doesn't have every other stat. I just read off 2 that are critical completion percentage and passer rating that Jalen's better. So it's not just that. It's the volume stats that Mahomes has more. And by the way, let me give you another one. Interceptions. Jalen's got 3. Okay.
And Mahomes has 11.
Right. Josh Allen's got 4 in the red zone alone.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you take those 150 attempts, and what is he averaging, like 11 or 12 yards an attempt?
Yeah.
And you multiply it by 100. You know what I'm saying? You're competing with the amount of yards he has. He only has 2 touchdowns less than he has if you combine the running touchdowns.
Right.
You look at what his worth is to the team. Jalen Hurts is up there just as far as Patrick Mahomes' worth is. So to say that he's not an MVP caliber talent because what it is to his team is more than just what his team is doing. I mean, that team believes in him. You say the running game, all right, you got a 1,000-yard rusher because he's helping in that 1,000 yards of rushing that that Miles Sanders has. Yeah. Just that fraction of a second that they take when they're running that read option or the RPO, that fraction of a second that the defense has to look and see who has the ball is making Miles better because it's displacing the defense just a little further, which opens up the read of the hole that they're reading anyways. Mm-hmm. He's a direct reflection, a direct cause and effect of why Miles has 1,000 yards. Then you look at the receivers. Yes, A.J. Brown is a phenomenal receiver. Makes, acrobatic catches as far as D-boying guys. But it's a reason why he's also just laying dimes in his hands they only have to work hard for. Even with, throwing to Smitty. I mean, he's throwing passes they ain't got to work hard for. He's dropping them right in the bread box. Mm-hmm. And his reads to get to those plays it's immaculate also. Yeah. I mean, he's clearing up. He's throwing guys open. The biggest thing is last year, he never threw anybody open. He's throwing guys open now. So, I mean,
yeah, I hear it. And look, and this is also part of the danger of doing this. Not us, but like when you do the deep dives into individual stats with a team game, you're not taking everything into account when you do that. And right. Barrett, you're right. On the RPOs, when he decides it's the right time to give it to Miles Sanders, that's yet another great read by the guy. But it's not going to show up in a stat anywhere.
Exactly, bro. Exactly,
so,
Rob.
Yeah, I mean, look, I find it annoying. I am glad that Vegas at least is recognizing that he should be the leader in the clubhouse. Now we have some games to go here. This could change, and if it does, if Jalen doesn't play well, rightfully so. Somebody else, look, Burrow's coming real fast here. If you look at what he's done, and the team's winning a lot, etc., and that's fine. But if we're just going off what the first 13 games have looked like, it's Hurts in my estimation, and some of the stuff we're hearing is just bizarre. Like, if I'll put it this way, the last thing I'm going to say on this: if Chris Sims was like, "Look, we're talking about a handful, 4 or 5 great quarterbacks, man. You can't go wrong any way you want to go," and it lays it out sort of in that tone, nobody's arguing that.
Nope.
You know what I mean? But to start going like if the Gardner Minshew was in there, and this is a system thing, and they're basically doing this because they have to with this guy, is nonsense. Like, you're just not watching the Eagles closely enough. That's all I can say.
Well, here's what I will say to this, because I do believe Chris Sims, his mindset is very similar to those who vote on this. Is they're going to look for every little thing they can possibly look at to count against Jalen Hurts, more so than a Mahomes, more so than a Josh Allen, more so than a Joe Burrow. I think they're more caught up in the wow factor than they are the actual numbers.
Oh, you're
Think about it.
I agree with you.
And I think that's going, and I hope it's not the case, but if Jalen does not win the MVP, I do believe that is the direct reason why Jalen did not win the MVP, because I think Chris Sims is like a mouthpiece for a lot who will not come out and say it, because going in, they have to perceive it to be, it's a totally objective voting. Mm-hmm. No, it's not. No, it's not, because we've heard too many little snippets here and there across the country all season long about what Jalen can't do, more so, or as much as what Jalen has done. But it doesn't make a difference what Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes does. Did you see him do this?
Yeah.
Very seldom is it Josh Allen's thrown 4 red zone interceptions. But do you see his arm strength, his ability to throw through an eye of a needle?
Keep a play alive and then throw across your body and all that. Yeah.
You know, and all that. What?
I was going to say this. No, go finish what you were saying.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What I'm going to say is we're all pissed off and snarling about it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts don't give a darn about it.
Yeah,
no, he
doesn't care about any of this stuff.
Yeah, he's
his ultimate goal, his focus is win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
He doesn't care about it. We're getting mad for him.
I agree.
He could care less about it, MVP.
I think we're reacting the way his teammates will, not the way he's basically like,
exactly. I mean, he won't Joel Embiid. He won't Joel Embiid us.
No. No,
because
100%.
he had an opportunity all last year, all the way up until this summer, to Joel Embiid. They don't like me. They want to trade me, but I'm staying. I'm going to stay. I'm going to lead this team to a championship. Then I'll get my just due. I just need my just due. Man, forget your just due. Go win a championship. You get all the just due you want. You know,
Derek, by the way, his Embiid is pretty good.
I am impressed.
Yeah, I am too, man.
I'm impressed. I didn't think
it's not bad. There's not so much like there's like he's kind of staying away from sort of the French accent that Joel had, but everything else is right on.
I'm just it's ridiculous that he's worried about an MVP. He's worried about people trying to trade him when all you got to do is just go out there and win a title, and you ain't got to worry about nothing else.
Yeah, he pays attention.
How about getting to the finals?
Joe does.
Even if you don't get, if you don't just get to the finals, man. How about you stay healthy during the playoffs?
Yeah,
I ain't going into all that.
Well, how about you also understand that your team hasn't gotten past the second round, and you as a collectively as a unit have underachieved. So maybe I'll just keep my head down until we actually do something as a team.
I
don't get it.
Well, you know, I need to teach him because that'll put him in a different mindset.
I agree. We need to get
then
him
you
on
go
the show.
long story long and understand it's the long haul.
Yeah.
And if you're doing all that stuff, you're not enjoying the journey. I think this team is enjoying the journey as opposed to just looking just straight ahead to going to the Super Bowl. They are enjoying the journey. They're internalizing what's going on. Yeah.
They're having fun.
Nothing like that, bro. Nothing like that.
You're right.
Enjoy the journey. Like I enjoy the journey every time I'm with you fellas.
Same.
I enjoy the journey.
Amen. We're smelling the roses right now as we speak. Yes.
What? You enjoy the journey.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the journey, man. Hanging out together.
I don't just wait until I'm not just trying to get to 3:00. I'm enjoying this sports talk with you, Derek.
Oh my goodness!
You,
You know what? I'm glad I'm wearing boots right now. I'm so glad I got on boots.
I need a minute.
It's getting deep here.
What are you talking about?
It's getting deep up in here, man.
Misty.
I'm telling you right now.
Bro,
man.
come on, man. You got
Barrett and I were hanging out in person last night. We hung out at Screwballs last night. We had a great coach ride.
Can you bring me a shovel and a bag, please?
See, I'm about to text her and tell her Derek is picking on me again.
That's right.
Go ahead, text her. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead, because you know what?
Because
Mama Brooks was not on the stream when you uttered that word. You should not have uttered that.
I apologize to the stream. I did.
Why apologize?
Barrett's allowed one curse word per show. He's allowed
no,
one.
No, he's not. That's like no. Don't give him that mulligan. No.
And I've stopped it. I haven't did it. I done it then. I've said darn and dag on it and all that stuff. Haven't I streamed? Dad gummit. I've said all that stuff.
I got your back, Barrett. I got you.
You got to enjoy the journey.
Of course you do.
Man.
That's what I love most. You're always going to take Barrett's back. I get that. No
like
problem.
I don't have your side, Tim.
Hold on. You know what I wanted to say? You know what I want to say, Rob?
I can't pick between my two guys.
But hey, Rob, look at this. You know what I really want to say?
Yeah.
How come we weren't invited to the dinner? You see the commercial for the post and pregame show?
Oh, yeah.
You see how nice that dinner was? You see how dressed up they were? Yeah. Where were we at?
Barrett, plain and simple. Are you on the post and pregame show?
It doesn't matter. We're a part of this.
That was exclusively for the crew on the post and pregame show. You have another pregame show that gives you kibbles and bits. If anything, you need to go to your bosses.
No, they don't give me anything. I get my own kibbles.
That's not JAKIB's fault.
Well, we still should have been invited. I didn't even get an invite. I decided to decline, but I still want the invite.
Why?
Because it
was for the post and pregame show.
But still, man.
If I wasn't a part of the post and pregame show, you know, I would have said, "Hey, I'm glad you guys had fun." I wasn't supposed to be there.
I know it's not fair, bro. It's not fair.
We should now tell you what we should have is we should have our own sports take dinner. That's what we should have.
There you go. That's a good idea.
That's what we should have. You know,
we got to talk to Joe Krause about all the during the week regular shows.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? We go
Joe Krause,
Good Morning NFC East and everything else up until us and Sills.
Yes, absolutely. You know, that's a great point. We should
Adam's exploit is only about the Hoagies, man. But hey, man, I gotta eat, man. What else can I do, man? Yes, those are 28, bro.
You don't want Barrett hangry. You don't want him hangry. Trust me.
Right.
Hulk.
Oh, I can attest to that.
Yes. So let him get whatever he wants to get.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. That deli you were talking about, that was one of the best delis in Philly.
Oh. Yes, bro. Primo's.
The food, Primo's Deli is unbelievable.
Primo's is legit.
But it's just my goodness. That's what said. It's $28. No, it wasn't 28, but they were like 15, $16.
Yeah, those hoagies are expensive, but I tell you what,
they're good, man.
They're good. They're good. And you know what? Their pasta's good.
Yeah,
the
pasta Ficio is killer.
The pasta Ficio is unbelievable.
No, you got me hooked on that. Pasta Ficio.
Yes.
The crab cake.
Oh my goodness, the crab cake sandwich. I love their hoagies, man.
There's everything there is stellar.
Oh. See, Derek won't tell you this though, but I used to go and I used to get lunch for us, and I didn't even let him make him pay for it. I'd buy lunch, and I would go and get him pasta Ficios, a hoagie, and then he wanted the red hot chips. He always had that red hot chips.
Those are good too.
Am I lying though?
No, because I still eat them today. Matter of fact, on this commercial break, I'm going to get a bag of hers red hot chips right now.
We're going to see him licking his fingers the whole segment.
Yes, you are. Yes.
You know what I'm doing? I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to finish off that salad, man. That salad
from Screwballs. Oh, yeah.
From Screwballs, man.
Yeah, man. Legit.
Hey, my wife made a chuck roast, and her mashed potatoes, man. Her mashed potatoes are so light. You just hold them in your hand, let them go. They just float in the air like clouds, man. Let me tell you something. I don't know what she does. I don't know what the heck she does with mashed potatoes, but my goodness, her chuck roast. She did a chuck roast in the oven, man. Oh my goodness, man. I may go get a bite of that too while I'm at it.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be a. You better be quick, man.
Hey, Xander better make this. No, Xander better make this like a 6-minute break. I don't care what you do. Play the same commercials over and over, Xander.
I'll go real slow with my live read to help you. All right, so let's get one in here, and when we come back, we're gonna do prop bets for the Eagles game. We're going to give you some over-unders, Jalen Hurts rushing yards, passing yards, who scores the first touchdown, who gets the first sack. We're going all kinds of Dallas Goedert's coming back. We'll do a Dallas Goedert prop. We got you covered. So we're going to do all kinds of stuff like that. Have a little fun with this Eagles-Bears game when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, I'm going to tell you about Pro Action Restoration. In fact, my guy Barrett reached out yesterday, said, hey, you got the number for your guy over there? I said, I sure do. Boom, hooked it up, and it is happening, man. So Pro Action is going to be doing some work for Barrett. Great stuff. Trust me when I tell you, man, they've been around for more than 2 decades. There's a reason for that. If you have a home, you have a business, you have a property, and you've gone through the pain and inconvenience of water, fire, smoke, mold damage, you name it, they are the people that you call. And they're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I personally went through it at my parents' house, and they got over there on a Saturday, cleaned it up, in and out of there. You wouldn't even know it. And price reasonable. The people were great. They're licensed, bonded, fully insured. Like I said, they've been serving the tri-state area for upwards of 24, 25 years. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company as well. Could be any of the above: water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.